All right, zombie fans, gather round, because you've stumbled onto the Drunken Zombies podcast. Each and every day, we're bringing you a fresh zombie tale, the kind that really gets those gears turning, and maybe makes you double-check those closet doors before bed, right?
Oh,
I'm Adrian, by the way, and I'll be your host, your guide,
yeah.
through all this delightful apocalyptic mayhem.
And hello, everyone. I'm Julia, your friendly neighborhood expert on all things, well, undead.
And trust me, today's story, yeah, this one is unsettling, to say the least.
Yeah.
Might just change how you view those cute little kindergartners, you know? But before we dive into that, before we get our brains chewed on, literally a friendly reminder to rate and follow the Drunken Zombies podcast. Keeps us coming back for more, keeps the zombie stories flowing.
Absolutely. Got to feed those hungry ears, right?
You got it. Today we're heading straight into the heart of, well, it's a chilling event, the Willow Creek outbreak, where this weird virus, it transformed the town's children into something, I don't even know, man, something far beyond your typical slow, dumb zombie.
Oh, this is not your Romero zombie, that's for sure.
Nope, not at all. We'll be zeroing in on the experiences of Alex Carter, a teacher, stuck right in the thick of it, and Jamie Lawson, a parent facing. Well, I shudder to think, every parent's worst nightmare. Our mission today.
To break it down, understand what went wrong, see what challenges they faced, and uncover the truly shocking truths they had to grapple with, not just to survive, but to maybe find a way back to, to normalcy, to life as they knew it.
Right, exactly. To untangle this whole mess,
Yeah, it's a tangled web, for sure. One of the first things that really jumped out at me reading through the source material was this jarring contrast, right, between the ordinary everyday beginning and the absolute chaos that explodes out of nowhere.
Yeah, you start with this image of Willow Creek Elementary, just an average school day, routines, those small familiar moments that we all know so well.
Exactly. Alex Carter, the teacher, they're portrayed as someone really genuinely invested in the students, right? I think that's what makes the whole descent into this horrifying situation so much more impactful. You start with this normalcy, this relatable foundation, and then it all just shatters.
It pulls the rug right out from under you. You get that sense of community, right? Like you said, those everyday details of school life.
Yeah.
Morning greetings, the organized chaos of a classroom. And then it's subtle, but this feeling that something's off starts to creep in. A few kids sniffling, maybe one looks a bit paler than usual. It's so easy, so human to just jump to the simplest explanation, right?
Oh, yeah, the flu's going around. Must be that. If only it were that simple.
Right, if only. And the story does such a good job of capturing that slow erosion of the familiar. It's unsettling.
Absolutely. And that's where the tension really starts to ratchet up. These little incidents, a kid suddenly zoning out, another one with like strange tremors. They seem isolated at first, but then there's this sudden violent act. And that's when the floor gives way. It's not just a few sick kids anymore. Reality itself has cracked.
It's like the world tilts on its axis. And inside the school, man, the way things escalate, it's just terrifying to even imagine.
A normal school day transforming into utter pandemonium, that's a pretty stark image.
Yeah, the sounds, the panic, the scrambling, complete and total breakdown of order.
And for Alex, someone who's supposed to be the authority figure, the caregiver, to be suddenly faced with this primal aggression from children they know, children they're responsible for, it's unimaginable.
And the school alarm, right? A sound that's meant to be, I don't know, reassuring.
Yeah.
It becomes this chilling soundtrack to pure chaos.
Yeah.
It's bone-chilling.
While all this is going down inside the school, you've got Jamie Lawson's experience on the outside. And that's where the narrative does this brilliant job of paralleling these two unfolding horrors.
It's like two sides of the same nightmare.
Exactly. That frantic phone call, the desperate drive to the school. It taps into every parent's worst fear, doesn't it? Arriving at the school, seeing this scene of absolute mayhem, the throngs of panicked parents, the flashing lights. It's such a powerful image of a community completely overwhelmed by this unimaginable catastrophe.
Just thrown headfirst into this. It's chaos, pure chaos.
And then these two perspectives, they collide, right? When Alex and Jamie find each other in the middle of all this, inside the school, it's this, I don't know, it's a pivotal moment.
Like two ships passing in the night, but the night is a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, something like that. They're thrown together by this shared nightmare, forced to try and make sense of something that is utterly, completely nonsensical. And they each bring something different to the table, right?
Yeah, Alex has the inside knowledge of the school, the layout, the routines, And Jamie, well, Jamie brings this medical understanding, a more strategic mindset.
A different set of skills, honed by different experiences, but both absolutely essential in this crazy situation.
It's a desperate alliance forged in the fires of, well, a zombie outbreak.
What I find really fascinating is how quickly they have to adapt, how quickly their thinking has to evolve. Their first attempts to contain this threat, trying to isolate a small group of those infected kids. It highlights this crucial underestimation of what they were really up against.
They'll go by the playbook, right? But this wasn't in the playbook.
Exactly. The old rules didn't apply. The failure of that initial strategy, it really underscores this key element of this particular outbreak. These kids, they're not just zombies, they're cunning. They're adaptable. They're not your typical shambling, mindless undead.
Yet you touched on something really important there. They're not just driven by basic instinct, are they? The story makes it pretty clear that their cognitive abilities aren't completely gone, just twisted.
Warped.
Warped, repurposed. They can learn, they can coordinate. They even display this disturbing form of playfulness. It's not just terrifying, it's chilling,
Yeah.
That unpredictability, that hint of retained intelligence, it ramps up the fear factor big time.
Big time. And that element of heightened intelligence, it plays a huge role in their later actions and the choices they make. Take their plan to use the PA system.
Right.
Trying to lure the Horde into the gymnasium.
It was a bold move, for sure.
Very bold. It hinged on the assumption that the infected kids would respond in a predictable way, but they were also dealing with an enemy that had already shown capacity for strategic thinking.
Right.
There's a lot of risk involved, a lot of uncertainty.
A gamble, really.
Oh, absolutely. And for a moment, it seems like their gamble might actually pay off. The gymnasium doors slam shut, and you almost feel this sense of relief, this reprieve.
A moment to catch their breath.
Exactly. But then Ethan emerges, seemingly leading the counterattack, and that's a brutal twist. Their safe haven, their supposed sanctuary, turns into yet another trap.
It's like the walls are closing in.
That moment in the gymnasium, it's a harsh lesson, isn't it? The collapse of that plan. It forces Alex and Jamie to confront this grim reality. They're facing something far more formidable, far more unpredictable than they first thought. I think you can really sense the weight of despair starting to settle in, the feeling of being outmaneuvered by children. What does that tell us about how we respond to crises, especially when we're dealing with a threat that's completely new, completely unknown?
It makes you question everything, doesn't it? Like all those preconceived notions, those strategies based on past experiences, they're useless. Yeah. It highlights the need to learn, to adapt on the fly, to throw out the rule book because the rules no longer apply. And it's in that moment, right, in that moment of what must have felt like utter hopelessness, that Alex throws out this incredibly risky idea, venturing into the overrun CDC lab.
Talk about a Hail Mary.
Right. It's like the last resort to decide that the best course of action is to go straight to the source, the epicenter of this whole outbreak. It speaks volumes about their desperation, their maybe even a kind of a profound courage.
That journey to the CDC lab, it transforms Willow Creek. It's no longer just a town. It becomes this nightmarish landscape.
It's like the fabric of reality is unraveling.
And the silence they encounter at the lab, it's almost more unnerving than the sounds of the infected, wouldn't you say? This place, a place that's meant to be a symbol of scientific understanding, of control. Yeah. It's now this silent testament to failure, to the inability to contain this outbreak. It's littered with the remnants of desperate attempts to fight back, to understand.
A graveyard of good intentions.
Exactly. It really highlights the fragility of our systems, of our institutions, when faced with something so overwhelming, so fundamentally disruptive.
And yet, in the midst of all that silence, all that chaos, they find it, a potential cure. It's this spark of hope in the overwhelming darkness. But of course, their escape, it's not exactly soothsaying. The Horde descends, and the cost of their discovery. It becomes tragically clear with Jamie's capture. It's a brutal reminder that this isn't just about finding answers. It's about the sacrifices that have to be made along the way.
Jamie's capture, it raises the stakes exponentially. They have this possibility of a cure now, this glimmer of hope, but their alliance is shattered, fractured. And one of them is now in the hands of the very thing they're fighting against. It creates this intense sense of urgency. It begs the question, what can one person do when faced with such overwhelming odds?
And the story really emphasizes that resilience, that human spirit that refuses to give up, Even in that moment of loss and despair, Alex makes this quiet but powerful vow. I will try again tomorrow. It's a small moment, but it speaks volumes about hope, about determination.
Mhm.
What does that kind of resolution, that refusal to give in, even in the face of such darkness, what does that say to you?
To me, it highlights that inner strength that can exist within individuals during a crisis. It's not always about those big heroic acts. Sometimes it's about that inner resolve, that quiet determination to keep going, to face another day, even when surrounded by darkness. And that brings us to the rescue mission, doesn't it?
One person going back into the heart of the infected zone. It's a testament to Alex's commitment, to their unwavering belief that Jamie can be saved. And then that reveal that Jamie's child isn't just among the infected, but they seem to have this significant role, this partial immunity, maybe even some form of leadership. It just throws another wrench into the works, doesn't it? It adds a whole new layer of complexity to the situation.
It's a huge twist. This child, who should be the one being protected, is somehow at the center of this whole crisis. It creates this huge moral and strategic dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fight against something? How do you combat a threat when the key to the solution might be intrinsically linked to someone you care about? It forces them to completely rethink their objectives, their approach.
Yeah, eradication is no longer an option. They have to find a way to leverage this connection, this partial immunity, to get that cure out there, to save everyone. It's a much more delicate, much more dangerous path than simply fighting the infected.
A tightrope walk with very high stakes.
And against all odds, they succeed. They develop the cure, they get it out there, and the children are restored. But the arrival of the government, that throws a dark cloud over everything. This external force with its own agendas. Suddenly, this miracle cure becomes more than just a salvation. It becomes a potential weapon.
It's a stark reminder that even when one crisis seems to be resolved, new ones can emerge. The immediate threat of the outbreak might be over, but the implications, the possibility of exploitation, it leaves this lingering sense of unease, of uncertainty about the future.
It's like winning the battle, but the war is far from over.
And the story ends on such a powerful note with Jamie's quiet but incredibly profound statement. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the quiet voice at the end of the day whispering, I will try again tomorrow. After everything they've been through, the loss, the terror, the sheer improbability of their survival, it resonates. What final thought does that leave you with? What does that statement mean to you?
It's about the different phases of courage, isn't it? It's not always the grand gesture, the loud declaration. Often it's the quiet inner strength that allows us to persevere, to face another day, even when everything seems hopeless. So to our listeners out there, I want you to think about this. In a situation like Willow Creek, what would you hold on to? What sorts of strength, what kind of quiet courage would you find within yourself to keep going?
That's a powerful question, Adrian. A powerful question indeed.
Thanks for joining us for this intense session of the Drunken Zombies podcast. If you're a fan of zombie tales, of survival against the undead, if you enjoy exploring those dark corners of the zombieverse, well, rate and follow and we'll keep those chilling stories coming. Until next time, try to keep those nightmares at bay. But if they do come, at least you'll be prepared.
Sweet dreams, everyone.
Yeah, sweet dreams.